So these are shoulder rotations. Now you get to work out with Julie, and this is our first exercise, and we want to warm up that glenohumeral joint, that shoulder joint, that shallow ball and socket joint. And again, our number is typically 8 reps, and she's going 8 reps back and forth, finding that natural springy point as she pronates and supinates that arm back and forth. You can see it kind of springy, going back and forth now from the side. She kind of hangs over and she's doing back and forth for 8. Again, watching that pronation, supination, back and forth, and that shoulder joint. You can see it up there, way up there, how all those muscles are working. And we're getting that joint deeply warmed up. And those are shoulder rotations. Feel free to double the number if you want, or just do half the number if you're just starting out. Our second exercise is the around the body pass. Again, she'll be passing the kettlebell around her body like in an oval fashion. And you can notice how her left arm is kind of doing an internal rotation as she passes the kettlebell back and forth with a nice little rhythmic swing to it. And she's going to do, again, about 8 reps. And then from the back, we can see it. And again, you can see her right arm kind of doing an internal rotation, and she has to pass the kettlebell smoothly, which you didn't do right there. And you'll find that you have to handle the horns nicely, cleanly at each end, the handle. And there we have it. Ribbon halos. Now we know we start from a hip, and she's going to go around her head to her opposite hip. We're going to double count these. So that's 1. And she goes back around, and that's 2. So follow along. Again, 8 is our number. You can increase that number or decrease it, but she's kind of double counting these as we go back and forth. And she uses her hips and a little bit of weight shift there as she uses her whole body to get that kettlebell behind her head, not over the top of her head, but behind it, kind of like the moon passing around the far side of the earth. And we're getting a nice 360-degree warm-up of that shoulder joint now. As we're working deeper and deeper, we're adding the body.
1 more.
And 1 more, she says. And there we have it. Our next exercise is the figure 8 pulsing squat. Again, we're going to double count this. So that's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And this is kind of quad dominant as it passed through the front of our bat cave. We're going to call that cave between our legs a nice bat cave as the bat flies in the cave, in the cave, in the cave, in the cave.
And reverse.
And then she's going to reverse it. So now the bat's flying out from the back of the cave to the front of the cave. And she has a whole different load on her body. As it's more glute dominant now.
And last one.
And last one. And actually, we're going to give Julie some extra work here and have her do it from the side now.
Sure.
So if you guys want a little extra warm-up, we're going to see it from the side.
Front.
Goes to the front. And again, it's this nice pulsing squat.
And the back.
And she's going to use a little bit lighter kettlebell as she's just warming up still. So don't go crazy on the weights. Just warm up. Get the body going. Get these big joints mobile and moving. And that looks great. Thank you. Our next exercise is lift, hip shift, rack basics. Notice we don't even have a kettlebell. We got to get these basics down before we know how to lift a kettlebell. So we're going to go through this slow motion 4 times each side. And Julie's going to start with her right hand. She's going to lift the kettlebell, pretending her kettlebell. Her elbow goes into her waist. Her thumb goes out, and she spears the kettlebell as it goes up to her chin, and she releases it. She lifts the kettlebell, elbow into her waist, and next time she's going to actually open up her fingers a little quicker when she puts her thumb back to hitchhike.
It's here.
And release it. So lift, elbow in.
Wow. See?
Yeah.
You really have to learn this.
So lift, elbow in, break it down real slow. Thumb goes out, fingers open up right away, and we go right to our chin. Okay? Let's try the left-hand side now.
This is my weak side.
Okay. And everybody's going to have a smart side and a not-so-smart side. So she's going to lift it, elbow in, thumb out, fingers spear, right? And she got it. Here we go. Lift it, elbow in, thumb out, spear it right away. Because if you don't spear it right away, that kettlebell is going to flop over the top of your wrist and bang the back of your wrist. It's going to be terrible, not sneak around the backside. So there we have it. Yep. Just getting you warmed up because now we're going to do a kettlebell next. The next exercise is the vertical clean. So now we get to actually pick up a kettlebell. Wow, how about that? So we're going to start from the standing position. And the kettlebell is going to go right between her feet, basically, in a squat position, tail down, head up. And she's going to stand up, elbow in, as that hip shifts back. So it all happens very quickly at once. Notice, the hip shift is going back. The elbow goes into the waist. The thumb goes right out. The fingers spear the kettlebell right away. Don't hold on to it. So the kettlebell sneaks around the back of her wrist. And we have a beautiful vertical clean in a very biomechanically efficient way, right from the floor, directly vertical, right up to her chin. And that looks terrific. Okay, now, left hand, she'll do it from a different angle. So we can see it, tail down, head up, and boom. She just kind of sneaks that kettlebell up around the back of the wrist as she shifts the hip back, elbow in, do the hitchhike thumb, fingers spear, all at the same time as we just kind of flick that kettlebell around the back of the wrist, and she's doing a complete vertical clean from the floor to her chin, and that looks terrific.
2 more.
2 more? All right. Good. Glad she's counting. And again, it's about 8 per arm, right?
That's good.
All right, looks good. Thank you. Our next exercise is vertical clean to press. So we already know vertical clean, and here we go. She starts from the standing position. She goes down. She cleans it where it flicks up, and she just presses it over her head, back to her shoulder, and release. Then she does her next one. Vertical clean to press. Notice as she goes down, she can use the elastic potential of her hips, her glutes, and her thighs, and her hamstrings, and all that good stuff going on. And then that'll help drive it up in that vertical clean. So boom, right there, drives it overhead to the shoulder. And this is pretty metabolic now, so her pulse should be going up. And if you do it long enough and hard enough with enough weight, it'll make you sweat like a farm animal. And that's what we want because we're getting country strong here. And she's doing 8 vertical cleans. And now we're going to do it for the other arm. And here's the vertical clean, press overhead. It's just a real muscle move. You just kind of muscle that guy right up overhead. And you can actually almost, if you want, you can watch the kettlebell go up, and then your body kind of shifts under that weight of the kettlebell. But see it, that kettlebell is going right straight up, pretty much right over her head, not out to the side. And she just muscles it right up. And muscles it right up. Good. Keep on breathing.
I've lost count.
Okay. So we're going to do about 20 more here. That's probably 8. Okay, good.
I think so.
That looks good.
That's good.
Our next exercise is vertical clean to push press. So now we're going to get that thing overhead a little more cleverly. And Julie's going to go down. She's going to vertical clean. Boom. And she quarter squat, press overhead. That's a push press. Back to the shoulder. Release. And she... you didn't push press.
Sorry.
Here we go. Flick it up. Quarter press. That's it. Quarter squat to press. Do it again. Flick it up. Quarter press. Notice how she's looking at the kettlebell now. A little different than the last exercise. And notice how her body kind of looks a little more biomechanically efficient as she gets right directly under that kettlebell in a plumb line. And also notice where the kettlebell doesn't really touch the floor. She's using the springy potential of her hips, her glutes, her hamstrings, and she just kind of gets the power. Those hips provide the power to get that vertical clean with that springy
It's a good one.
bit. Okay, now we're going to do it from the side. Again, it's very metabolic. So here she goes. She's going to flick it up, whoop, and then push, press, overhead, release. Push, press. So it's a very efficient way to get it overhead. She's using the elastic potential of her legs in that quarter squat to get it overhead. Quarter squat. And she's also using the elastic potential there to get that vertical clean. More elastic potential. So 2 bits of elastic potential. 1, 2. Here we go. That elastic potential. There we go.
Woo!
And she's breathing now.
Those are hard.
Here's box squat hip hinge. As we can see, Julie's elbows are not passing through the inside of her thighs. They're staying pretty much on the outside of her thighs. We don't want to go too deep with this, but we want to go deep enough to get power. Now from the side, we're going to see how she's like sitting back onto a box. Her shins are staying fairly vertical as that hip goes back. And as she thrusts out, that provides the power to lift the kettlebell and to swing really heavy kettlebells this way. And it looks really good. And that kind of warms us up. Here's our 2-arm kettlebell swing. Julie's going to start from the hiked football position. As soon as she lifts it, it swings between her legs. And with her nice hip hinge and hip thrust, that kettlebell just kind of flies up to around her mouth level or so, or her chest level, and her arms work as clackers. Now from the side, and we'll do a full 8 reps here. She swings it, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th one, she's going to swing and plop. That's how we stop it. You don't stop the momentum of a kettlebell. Very nice. Julie's going to start with the hiked kettlebell position, and as she picks it up, quarter turn in with her thumb, and she'll do 8 reps here. And she's thrusting, and with that hip thrust, that kettlebell just kind of flies up to around her mouth, nose level. So again, it's very efficient. Plop and plop. Now she'll turn to the side, and we'll do another 8. She starts from the hiked kettlebell position. As she lifts the kettlebell, it swings in, and then thrust. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and let it swing, and plop. Very nice. Here Julie is going to do the kettlebell lat pull, lawnmower lat pull. And again, she's just activating her lat. It's almost a shoulder shrug and a lat pull. So when that kettlebell flies out from between her legs, she's going to be changing the momentum and have it go vertical. So this just kind of activates her upper traps, activates the lat for that kind of lat pull, shoulder shrug, where when we go from a swing, the kettlebell will then be able to go to the racked position quite easily. Very nice.
Muscle memory too.
And muscle memory. Power clean, and we're going to watch Julie just kind of flick that kettlebell up as it comes out of the bat cave. She does a vertical pull with the lawnmower, and it just flicks right up around her wrist. And it's a feel. It's like a eureka feel when you get it right.
Yes.
It just goes up without any effort at all, and it's very efficient. She's going to do 8 of these. Whatever she's on, just follow along.
Perfect.
Here we go from the side. We're going to see it from the side. And we can see how close the kettlebell is to her body. It doesn't swing out because she pulls that lawnmower right when it comes out of the bat cave, and it goes vertical right up to the rack position. And she wants to spear that kettlebell. Her finger's a little closed. There we go. Now she's spearing it. And the quicker you spear it, the more it's just going to flick around to the back of the wrist.
Also, I have to say, when you remember to turn it here, the turning allows you to do that better. For some reason, for me, the turning here allows for more turning up here.
Great point.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Love it. And it's efficient. It makes it more efficient.
And it's a very good exercise. Whew.
Woo. This is two-hand goblet squat to press. So Julie's using a heavier kettlebell now, so she's really going to get metabolic here. And she's going to squat down, her elbow's going to touch the top of her thighs, and she launches it right just over her head. Doesn't have to be straight arms, but she's using a heavier kettlebell and getting that heavy kettlebell over your head. Boy, your heart's got to really start working now. And this is a great metabolic interval. Especially if you do more than 8, 16, 24, whatever. She's going to do 8 and 8. Another 8 from the side here. And she's just clearing that kettlebell right over the head. Goes right back in towards the sternum area. The elbows touch the top of the thighs. And she's just driving up. Her arms are driving up. And everything's driving up. Ooh, it's a lot of... It'll gas you, right?
Yeah, that's good.
This is short arm L to press. So it's a bottoms up drill where the kettlebell is going to be, she's going to swing it and she's going to hold it bottoms up. We'll just do 4 in every position here. So she's doing short arm for 4. She holds it up and she pegs that landing, as I say, and that bottom of the kettlebell. Now she's going to an L, and let's do 4 of these. And now that shoulder, you can feel it. It really has to work. The wrist has to work. A lot of stability, and now she goes to a press L swing, to an L, press L swing, L, press L swing, and one more L, press L swing. Got it. All right, now let's go to the other side. Short arm, boom. Short arm, again, 4 each. Stabilizing that kettlebell in that unstable position with the bottoms up. There's her L. She stabilizes it. Great way to get the shoulders really strong. Notice from the last exercise, she's using a much lighter kettlebell here. She went extra heavy in the last one. This one, she's going maybe a little extra light, especially at the beginning. Slowly work in and build that shoulder strength. Don't do it all in one day. So she's using a little bit lighter kettlebell here, but believe me, with that lever out there, it's going to put a load on that shoulder and make those rotator cuffs work. It looks good.
Sweating.
Sweating.
Woo! Hot diggity dog.